Well, he's on a very popular radio show in Denver. He's got 3 Super Bowl rings, multiple-time Pro Bowler, Fox Sports, one of the bedrock guys here. Mark Schlereth is joining us. He just wrapped up his morning show in Denver. So I got to tell you, I watched Bo Nix, and I thought to myself, I talked about this early, that the college draft in football gives you kind of microwavable stars. Heat them up, they're ready to go. It doesn't matter if you're Bryce Harper, you could be Wemby, you could be a hockey star. You put it in the oven, you cross your fingers, you bake a couple years, and hopefully they help you out. But my takeaway is, as big a mess as Denver was, Nat Hackett, draft capital, cap hell, it was a mess. And I watched that and I went, are these the Texans? Are we looking at like, oh, they'll become a model of how to get out of a cap disaster. Now, I could be overstepping it here, but he looked like he looked in college. I mean, they've already named him the starter for next week. Have they not, Mark?
Yeah, they certainly have. Bo Nix played exceptionally well. And I think, a couple of things NFL teams have to do. I think we have to do it as people, Colin. You have to be honest with yourself, right? And you have to know what your strengths are, but more importantly, what your weaknesses are. And you have to understand that you have to build the majority of your football team through the draft. Because when you go after everybody in free agency, you're paying $8+ for B- talent.
Yeah.
And so what the Broncos did was saying, we're going to stop the bleeding. Like, we are going to, we're not putting Band-Aids over gaping wounds anymore. We're going with Bo Nix. And, oh, by the way, the best fit, in my opinion, of any of the quarterbacks that were taken in the first round. He was 6th overall. I just thought he was a perfect fit for Sean. And ultimately, you look at the way he played, and I always talk about just pocket presence. The kid has unbelievable pocket presence, and you saw everything come to fruition. You saw him stand in the pocket, deliver the football on time, accurately. You saw him manipulate inside the pocket, never taking his eyes down to focus on the rush, always keeping him downfield, delivering strikes. You saw him scramble out of the pocket when he was under duress, but continued to focus down the football field and complete. His first completion was to Cortland Sutton on a 3rd down and 10 for a first down outside the pocket. You saw him operate on 3rd down as an offense. You saw everything you needed to see, and Bo Nix is legitimately going to be the day one starter for the Denver Broncos at the quarterback position, without question in my mind. It's just a fact. 0 sacks in that game.
Yeah.
Everything that Russell Wilson wasn't last year for Sean Payton, Bo Nix was. I know it's only one preseason game, but this has been the way it's been all preseason through practices with Bo Nix.
Yeah, now that there's a distinction now. Justin Fields took a lot of sacks for the Bears, but PFF told you it was like the 15th best O-line. The Broncos O-line, with a left tackle that's elite, more than workable at the guard. Like, I look at the O-line, I'm like, I don't think it's a disaster when I watched them play. But let's talk about that, because it's a position you know better than anybody, is that because a quarterback gets sacked, there is a tendency to think the O-line's terrible. That's not necessarily what it means. Explain that.
Yeah, well, I think what you have to understand is that quarterback sacks, to me, are more of a quarterback-driven statistic than they are an O-line-driven statistic. The way the game has changed is that the majority of the throws made within the context of your offense are quick 3-step and 5-step in nature, where the ball is coming out 1 to 2. And it's coming out in under 2.5 seconds. So if your quarterback doesn't throw the ball on time or pulls the ball and scrambles around, especially at the backside of the pocket, now those sacks go on the quarterback. And if you look at the Denver Broncos last year, of the 45 sacks they gave up, I bet you close to 3/4 of those sacks were credited as Russell Wilson's fault. And that's unacceptable. Like, that is unacceptable. And the worst part of that, for me as an offensive lineman, is when the quarterback comes out and doesn't jump on the hand grenade. You want to talk about a guy that will be hated in the locker room and that will piss me off, is when he takes 5 sacks, and of the 6 sacks that were given up, And then he comes out in the press conference afterwards and says, yeah, we got to protect better. No. We, what are you, a French waiter? No, you got to play better.
Yeah.
We don't have to protect better, with all your we. So, one of the big emphasis with that game yesterday with the Denver Broncos is 0 sacks. And that's going to be like when you give up a sack in the course of a drive, you have almost 0 chance after that sack to score points. Your scoring ratio drops down to like 8 to 10% or something crazy like that. I don't know exactly what the percentage is, but you're almost 0 ability to score points if you give up a sack in a drive. So having quarterbacks not taking sacks because they understand what they're doing in the context of the offense becomes vitally important.
Bo Nix and Peyton get a little bit of a break with scheduling. So you open with Seattle, but it's a brand new staff. You also have Vegas at the end of it. You're at the Jets. But again, the Jets what are the Jets? You're at Tampa, winnable. Pittsburgh at home with a quarterback issue. You start looking at the first. Now, it gets a little tougher after that. But I don't know. I look at that with a rookie quarterback, and Minnesota's early schedule is landmines everywhere. I look at this and I think pretty workable. What is realistic as somebody who knows players there, Sean Payton privately? What do you think is workable in the first 5 or 6 weeks?
Yeah, no, I think they could come out of the first 5 or 6 weeks with either a winning record or kind of a 3-3 type record.
Yeah, so do I.
And ultimately, here's the thing that ends up happening, with national analysts is they'll say, hey, you know what? Talent is questionable here. They don't have a lot of talent. And I'll say, no. You're mistaken. They don't have a lot of name value.
Yeah.
They have a lot of talent, but the talent that they have hasn't created a name for itself yet. The first game I ever played in, Colin, was a game in Philadelphia about halfway through the season, my rookie year in '89 when I became a starter. And I'll never forget it. It changed the trajectory of my career. To have somebody believe in you it can mean so much to you as a player, but just as a parent, if you believe in your kid, the best thing you can do for your kids is to believe in them. And I'm sitting on the bus, scared as all get out, going to open up my career in the vet in Philadelphia against, Reggie White and Jerome Brown and Clyde Simmons, and I mean, this is the number 1 defense in football. And our quarterback is Doug Williams, and he walked on the bus and he walks by me. And then he stops and he turns around and he backs back up and he taps me on the shoulder. I take out my headphones and he said, listen, the only difference between you and them is they had a chance to go out and make a name for themselves. And he goes, and today you have a chance to go out and make a name for yourself. And I completely believe you're going to do that. And I end up getting a game ball in that game and getting in a fight and the whole 9 yards. This guy by the name of Mike Pitts, I am wearing his ass out. And he swung at me, he threw a punch at me, and I tried to decapitate his ass because I'm a 10th rounder from Idaho. You're not punking me.
Right.
I guarantee you that's not going to happen. And ultimately, I got a chance to make a name for myself. These guys that play for the Broncos right now haven't had that opportunity. But trust me, at the end of this season, there are going to be 4 or 5 guys who make a name for themselves that are going to become those guys that you look at and go, wow, that team's more talented than I thought.
Yeah.
And they just don't have name value yet.
Yeah, no, I've said this. They've got 2 workable backs, potentially 3 receivers I like, a good left tackle. They lack a rush end, which they drafted. So to me, cross your fingers on that. One of the best corners, safeties are good, linebackers move, great coach. I don't buy this. That Minnesota and Denver, I keep hearing they're going to finish 4th, and I'm like, I don't know. I see a lot of players. We got to run. Mark Schlereth, good seeing you, bud.
You too, Colin. Take care, buddy.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. It's me, Uncle Colin. Subscribe here to get the latest from the herd, including exclusive behind-the-scenes videos and more, wherever you may be, however you may be watching. Thanks again for making us part of your day.